limitless possibilities that come with daring to dream big. Today, Sarah brings her unique perspective, insights, and wisdom to all of us. Her story will ignite your passion, challenges assumptions, and inspire you to embrace change and pursue excellence. And now that you do, please join me in giving a warm LifeVantage welcome to our keynote speaker, Sarah Thomas.
So here I am. And I just happened to give a shout out to Miss Urban. She is one of my daughter's 5th grade school teachers right there. And I want to tell you, those products you gave me, I believe, are the reason that I'm able to be here. Bailey told me to tell you that. How about that? Thank you, Miss Urban. She's wonderful. I mean, she's got me convinced. All right, so I've got a limited amount of time to share my journey with all of you. But this is a pretty beautiful, large crowd. I like to take a survey, and just if you would show me if you're a fan of football, raise your hand. All right, hey, leave them up, interactive session.
Thank you, dear.
All right, we're gonna take an oath. Repeat after me. I promise. From this day forward, I will no longer boo the officials. There you go. There's always that guy. Hey, at least 1 year. Don't boo me. My digits are 53 on the back. I'm not that age yet. But with the LifeVantage liquid collagen, maybe you won't even tell I'm 50, right? But yeah, 1 year, I used to tuck my hair. I don't anymore. I'm able to have my hair in a ponytail so you can identify me a little easier. Just don't boo me for 1 year. All right, let's start this journey. Everybody wants to know, like, how did you get into football officiating and what keeps you motivated, Sarah? And I'm going to tell you, I have learned it's me. And what you guys do, you better be the one that motivates yourself. And if you're not, you better check yourself at the door. So, these 3 perfect innocents, they do no wrong, they don't cuss, they did not drink before the age of 21. I'm not that mother. But they inspire me, they encourage me, they need things, so they say, want more than anything. But I'm their first line of what success looks like or failure. So I have to get up and motivate myself every day. I want to introduce you to my 3 amazing kids. Ridley is to my left. He is 23 as of this past Monday, and he is a 7-year junior in college. They call it a super senior. He's a baseball player and COVID and then eligibility, and I'm like, I hope you're at least working on your master's. No, he barely has his English, you know? But he is a shortstop at William Carey College University there in Hattiesburg, Mississippi. When I played basketball, it was William Carey College, and I still want to say it that way, but it's William Carey University. And he's just living life and loving doing what he's doing, and it's fun to watch him. He's playing in Thomasville, Georgia, but I decided I would come here to Nashville with you guys. Did I hear Thomasville, Georgia? There we go, all right. All right, so then Brady is to my right. His face, says it all. Can you guys understand me? I have a little southern drawl. And in the South, they say I'm paying for my raisin. Well, that was the reason I'm paying for my raisin. He is 6'7", and he was a catcher, average size catcher, right? But he was phenomenal. Well, they discovered he could pitch. And so he started pitching, and he's throwing between 92 and 93. He's got a jump of a slider, little breaking ball. So I'm hoping I can retire. And then maybe I can join this team and do what you guys do. But he is a sophomore at Jones Junior College in Ellisville, Mississippi. And he's playing a doubleheader tomorrow, but I heard that the SEC tournament's here, and I'm a die-hard Kentucky Wildcat fan. Yeah, okay? I have to say hotty-toddy too, because my kids love Ole Miss. But I'm going to stay here and go to the tournament, and then get up in the morning and drive all the way to Ellisville, Mississippi to catch his doubleheader. All right, the beautiful young girl, I've already mentioned her. I would say, yes, she's my daughter, not my granddaughter. I have her later in life. And when I took those 5 pregnancy tests early 2012, they were all positive. I'm almost 39 years of age, and it was a shock to the system. But she is absolutely phenomenal. And what I love the most about her is she is just as beautiful on the inside as she is on the outside. It is, I'm telling you. But I also tell her, she will be the reason I don't go to the nursing home. She will keep me, my boys going to ship me off. You know those daughter-in-laws, as they consider. All right, so seriously, you're the one that has to motivate yourself. There are things in your life that maybe inspire you. My journey, take a look at this picture. If you're trying to figure out which one I am. I'm the one that's standing behind number 31 with a bad perm. Hence the reason you gotta accept the fact that some days you're the pigeon and some days you're the statue. And clearly I was the statue in this picture. I don't know why my mom allowed me to leave the house looking as such. But I am blessed that my mom and dad are still married 57 years. I don't know how in the world she's managed to do that. She's your typical Southern Baptist school teacher, did everything. She cooks and cleans and she can sew, and I don't do any of those things. And then my dad is he's almost 80, but he's just your grit, drive, no excuses, and he raised me to never to depend on a man for anything. And I think, you know what? He cringes now when I say that. I said, but it's true. But I think I took it to heart because I can't keep a man. But that's a whole other thing. Sports was a part of our life. That's just what we did. My immediate family, if we weren't playing the sport, we were watching it. But my extended family, my mom's oldest sister, she's 84, phenomenal basketball player. She played at Peabody. I believe he was from Nashville. And so she was coaching at the time Dallas Baptist University when I was in 5th grade. But the amazing thing about her, she won the first women's NCAA basketball title, in 1971, and that granted her the honor to coach the U.S. World Team in 1973. They played in Moscow, Russia. They won a silver medal, and one of her players was none other than the amazing, and we miss her, Pat Summitt. So when I was in 5th grade, she looks at me, we're at a family function, and she says, hey, are you gonna try out for basketball? I said, Aunt Jill, they don't have a girls' team. She said, go out for the boys' team. She didn't hesitate. I've never thought of my gender that would hold me back. So I go out for the City League basketball team, boys' team in Pascagoula, Mississippi. Ooh, is there a little girl in here? Yes, ma'am. So I go out and I make the boys' team. But I'm on the B team. So I play on the B team my 5th grade year. 6th grade year, you were supposed to be on the A team. However, they had put a clause in there unless you were a girl. Well, I was the only girl. And so when I was in 6th grade, and I came home that afternoon after practice, and my dad said, how was it on the A team? And I said, Dad, I didn't make the A team. He said, why is that? I said, well, they said because I was a girl, I couldn't be on the A team. Well, my dad loaded me up in the 1978 Ford MTD, and we went right back down to that stadium. And he gave that coach a piece of his mind. Now, like any sixth grader, I'm mortified. I am like this. But I think all too often, and you all can relate, you shouldn't do this, you can't do this, whatever restrictions they want to put on you. And I'm all about, hey, keep pushing forward. But I just want to encourage all of us, don't look at life as a roadblock. Look at it as a speed bump. And the quicker you get over the speed bump, whatever it is that people are telling you you can or you shouldn't, or you won't be able to, it's going to be in your rearview mirror. Your rearview mirror is this big compared to your windshield, which is right in front of you and everything is forward. If you're constantly focused on what's in that rearview mirror, it is so small that it will affect everything in your life. Look through your windshield. Move forward. Get over the speed bump. I'm not encouraging you to speed, but I'm telling you, get over the speed bump and put it behind you. So by that sixth grade year, I didn't push the envelope. I went and played on the B team again. Let me tell you what it did. It propelled what ended up paying for my college education, career. The confidence I got. And when you are told no, somebody may not think that you were able to, just get some experience. Don't give up. But I dominated. I was the tallest player, the B team that year, the whole league. I felt as if I could intimidate the boys because I could touch the rim. I couldn't dunk, but I felt as if I intimidated them. But again, my confidence. The picture you're looking at here is my seventh grade year, still playing in the City League, and I'm on the A team. As you can see, right? As you can see, the guys who kind of surpassed me in height, and I really probably played about half the games, and in those games, I probably played half the time. Well, we won the City League there in Pascagoula, and Jay Walton lives here in Nashville. He's number 31. He was probably about 6'4" or 6'5" in 7th grade. After we won the championship, he looked at me and he said, hey, Sarah, you're going to try out for the middle school. And before I could answer Jay, he said, you know what? You'll never make it. You actually have to be good and try out. So I didn't try out. I told him he intimidated me. One of two guys probably intimidated me. But like any good middle school teacher, he saw some height walking, the halls and said, hey, I heard you play basketball. Come have a private tryout. So I did. And I was on the JV team. I scored 14 points, I think, my first game, and then went on and played at the high school level, and then went on and played at the University of Mobile. Funny story about Jay Walton. He's tall, I'm tall. We ran in the same circle of friends. Everybody wanted us to date. And so he asked me to prom senior year. And I said, yeah, because I can actually wear heels with someone and I'll be taller than them. Then all of my friends said, Sarah, he's going to try to kiss you. I did not kiss him because I was still mad at him that he told me I wasn't good enough to make the middle school team. Jay and I had lunch probably 7, 8 years ago right here in Nashville. And I said, Jay, do you remember telling me that? He said, I just can't believe I did that. And I said, well, you did. I said, it's no big deal. I said, how may I be good enough to make the middle school team and you were good enough to play at Mississippi State? I said, but you were not good enough to make it to the NBA, but I was good enough to make it to the NFL. I go on and I'm playing in a Baptist church league. Y'all can tell the only girl, the first and only girl, has been a part of my entire life. I have an older brother and a younger girl. I was the only girl. So I'm playing in this men's basketball church league there in Pascagoula. I've been in this league for 3 years after college, and we had just won the church championship. And the next night, went out into volleyball, still at the same Baptist gymnasium. And a guy comes up to me and he says, Sarah, I'm really sorry about what happened last night. And I looked at him and I went, I was by myself last night. I don't know what you're talking about. And he went, you're serious? You have no clue. And I said, no. And he said, well, they kicked you out of the men's basketball league. I said, why? He said, they said it was because you were a girl. I went, well, I've been in this league for 3 years and they just now realizing I'm a woman. and then I thought, all right, if they had a vote, I know we would have been, a part of it, or at least I would have been. And then I said, was anybody there from our team? He said, no. So I went up to the back preacher. I said, hey, can we have a revote? He said, yes, we have a revote the next night. It's 8 teams that don't want me, 8 teams that don't care. And so he asked the one guy that brought up this vote, he said, why don't you want her in the lead? And that guy said, well, we just feel like she gets the calls. And when she posts us up, it feels funny. Yeah, my head spun around about 3 times. So then I just said, you know what, if y'all didn't want me and it's coming down to this, I looked at that guy and I said, as fast-paced of a game as basketball is, if you get some type of sexual sensation out of it, you don't need to be playing it either. So, you can imagine, I said sexual sensation in a Baptist gymnasium. I called up my dad, I mean, crying mad. You gotta be kidding me, because I'm a girl, I can't play, my team doesn't mind. So a couple of months after that, I'm on the phone with my older brother, Lee. It's all his fault, right? Lee is to my left in this picture. He just retired from Conference USA a few seasons ago. My baby brother, Scott, he just retired from the Junior College Association of Mississippi. He's still umpiring baseball and doing high school officiating there in Mississippi. But I talked to my older brother. I'm on the phone with him. And when I tell you my older brother was the straight and narrow, and I think y'all can tell I was not. Like I was the black sheep. So I'm on the phone with him and I said, hey, what are you doing this evening? And he said, I'm going to a football referees meeting. I said, can girls do that? He said, I guess so, sis. Be there at 6 and don't be late. I think he was glad I got kicked out of the men's basketball league, so I wouldn't tag along anymore. Well, I show up at this first high school officiating meeting, and right before we go in, Lee stops me and he goes, okay, sis, these are a bunch of old men set their ways. You are going to get some strange stares. And I said, it's all right, I can handle it, let's go in. So we go in, sure enough, George Nash is at the front, he's 84, and he's still a mentor to me today, because if it wasn't for him, I do not believe I would be where I am. And I know you all have those mentors in your life, right? So, funny story about George, I guess about 6 months ago, he had something done to his heart, so I went to see him in the hospital, and he had these thick glasses on. I said, George, what in the world happened? And he said, they said I was legally blind. I said, well, that's what everybody else said about you about 20-something years ago. So when I walk in, George Nash is talking to another official, and he stops, and sure enough, he watches me. So to break the ice, I just said, hey, is this where you become a football referee? I did not repeat what George said, and he said, I guess so. I sat there, and I went, you have got to be kidding me. These guys actually get together and discuss rules, play scenarios, what-if situations. I'm like, ain't no way. Because when I was a player, I hated the officials. And truth be told, they probably hated me. But I was so intrigued that they took such pride in what they were doing. And I wanted to be a part of that, to be able to give back to the sport. Then my competitive juices started flowing, and I thought, all right, I don't have a clue about the game of football. And I'm certain there's still people who think I don't have a clue about the game of football. But I dug in deep. Every night that I could take a snap, I was. Saturday morning, it'd be jamborees in Hurley, Mississippi, from 7 a.m. to 1 p.m. And I think we took off on Sundays. But I officiated at the high school level for 10 seasons. I had those 2 boys during that time. And the crews that I was on, their wives made me a maternity referee top. It was awful. It had lace on it and everything. But I'm thankful because I worked the clock whenever I was pregnant, and that way I wouldn't lose my eligibility for the next season to work the playoffs. So my 9th season, Larry Tucker, God rest his soul, he was my crew chief. And he said, Sarah, I want you to apply to the Junior College Association and be on my crew as a line judge. I said, all right, Tuck. Because I mean, that was a compliment. Just like in anything, you start at the grassroots and you work your way up, and junior college was the next. Nobody even thinks about, I wasn't thinking about D1, the NFL, what? And so a couple of weeks after that, I said, hey, Tuck, I'm going to send in my application. He said, don't do it. I looked at him, I went, why? Do you not want me on your crew anymore? He goes, that ain't it. He said, the Atlanta secretary said, don't bring him that BS. He would never hire you because you're a woman. And I looked at Tuck and I said, well, God made me this way and I ain't changing it. And I can just tell you that if you don't want me on my merit, I'll take a lap on my merit. If you don't want me on my merit, this job is tough enough as it is. I'm not about to go try to prove myself as a woman to a very shallow-thinking man. So, my 10th season, I told the crew, hey, I'm going to give it up after this year. Ridley had started playing organized sports, and I just felt guilty leaving on Friday night. And they all told me, Sarah, don't do that. You're gonna regret it. Well, lo and behold, what I thought was my last game was a state championship game there in Jackson, Mississippi. And 4 days later, I got a phone call from an NFL scout that was scouting officials, right? I didn't know these people existed. I didn't know they were out there. So he calls me up and he goes, I just want to tell you, I was not there to scout you. And he said, and I didn't realize you were a woman. And I went, I don't know if that's a compliment or not. But of course, he had my attention because he had NFL behind his name. He said, your field presence is what separated you. Alright? It wasn't that I got the call right. Something happened, I went into the crew, we had to adjust the chains, and then he said, how do you handle the very heated coach? And you move right along. What you're doing, your field presence matters. Okay? When I was being recruited as an athlete, I knew it was the small things that separated me. But I didn't realize later on in life, career-wise, that people were still trying to recruit you. Okay? Your field presence is what will separate you. Yes, we want to do things more right than wrong, but understand someone is always watching how you carry yourself. So your field presence. So then he says, I think you got what it takes to go to the next level. I'm like, what's that? I don't think it's going to be the Junior College Association of Mississippi. So he plugs me in with Gerald Alston, Conference USA supervisor, in 2007, and Gerald at the time was still in the field as an NFL referee. I think he worked 27 seasons, 3 Super Bowls. And I went and had an audition at Southern Miss. And a few days after that audition, I get a phone call from Gerald Alston. I've never spoken to the man. I've never seen the man. He's never seen me. Wasn't on any social media. So I answered my phone and he says, hey, walk me through this play that happened at USM. So I did. And Gerald hired me over the phone, sight unseen. I joke with him now, of course now, but I said, all right, I knew you were old. But, senile? I mean, you're going to make history hiring the first woman, and you have no clue that I can work. He said, Joe Haynes, the NFL scout, he said he's never referred an official to me that wasn't able to work. And then he said, when you answered the question, you did not lie or make an excuse. So I knew that your character was in check, and that meant you would be coachable. Do y'all feel what I'm saying? So he hires me over the phone, but he fails to mention, and this is what blows my mind, 2007, we're still having to suppress hiring a minority. To this day, we still are. But he listed me in the roster of officials as S.B. Thomas. I knew who S.B. Thomas was. And I didn't ask him at the time why, but then he told me. He didn't tell his boss. But then he goes in and he tells his boss, hey, I've hired a female official. And the commissioner went, surely you're not going to put her on the field. He said, oh yeah. He said, I've already talked to 2 universities and they don't care. Let me tell you this. In the world I live in, it's an equal opportunity employer to get your tail chewed out. All they see are strikes. But this picture that you're looking at is my second game of my rookie season. in Conference USA. And I live by this. I tell my kids this, especially with social media. It's meant to be a great thing, but y'all understand what I'm saying. But a successful person is someone who can lay a firm foundation with the bricks that are thrown at him or her by others. And I mean it. Let them lay them down. So listen to it. And I tell my kids that all the time, but then early on they went, but Mom, you do realize you got a lot of bricks. You probably have a mansion or two across the globe. And that's fine. And I've also learned you do not defend the truth. If you believe in what you are doing, you do not exhaust your efforts to defend it. The person that's questioning you, they're the ones that are doubtful and insecure. Lay it down, build your firm foundation, and keep moving forward. So I worked 7 or 8 seasons at the collegiate level. Like I mentioned, I took those 5 pregnancy tests. They were all positive. And I'm working in arena ball at the time. And so I called up Gerald Austin, and of course he's a mentor of mine, as you know. But I called him up and I said, hey Gerald, I gotta tell you something. He said, what's that? I said, I'm pregnant. And he said, with what? I swear that's what he said. I don't know if it's a boy or a girl yet, but I'm pregnant. And so then there's this long, awkward pause. And I go, did you die? And he said, no, I'm trying to figure out what we're going to tell the assignment secretary for the Arena League is why you're going to miss the next few weeks. He said, we're going to tell him you have a high ankle sprain. I said, all right, Joe. I said, but that high ankle sprain is going to swell up around my belly. I'm not going to be able to deny the fact that I'm pregnant. He was concerned about my career because I had started doing some training camps and stuff like that with the NFL. And so he was trying to protect me, if you will, but it's crazy, that year was the year of 2012 that the replacement officials were there and no one got hired. And I worked in the replay booth at Conference USA, and a dear friend of mine told me, she said, I want to tell you something, Sarah. If it's meant for you to be on that field in the NFL, the good Lord will put you there and this baby will have nothing to do with it. So, thank God. I expect a card from all of you. But everybody started saying she's not going to be able to bounce back, get in shape, how she's going to be able to leave kids, and all that stuff. And then April of 2013, I'm hired in the developmental program of the NFL. We used to have NFL Europe, now we have the developmental program. Well, the media got a hold of it and said Sarah Thomas is going to be the first female in 2014. And then I was like, can we just pump the brakes? I haven't taken a snap last season or this season. And so I worked in Conference USA, and then at the end of that season, I worked the Senior Bowl. And so there were some supervisors that were pretty vocal, not to me, but vocal that I didn't belong. And how was I going to keep up with the speed and athleticism of the Power 5 players that make up the majority of the NFL? Because Conference USA is considered mid-level. Well, on the whole Senior Bowl, there's a defensive end, number 55. There's an SEC player, and he jumps into the neutral zone before the ball is snapped. That is a foul for offside. I don't flag him. It gets worse for me. He sacks the quarterback. So after that game, I'm asked by the very supervisor, and I told him I just missed it. 2 months after that, I'm with Gerald in Baltimore, Maryland. We're at a clinic for aspiring officials, and Gerald calls me to his room, and I'm thinking, hey, he's going to tell me some good news. And I go in there, and he says, they're not hiring me this year. I'm waiting for the punchline. And he looked at me and said, they're not hiring me. I said, all right, what did I do or not do? And he said, don't have that self-doubt. I said, Gerald, this isn't about self-doubt. I wouldn't be sitting here if I didn't evaluate me first. And there's something I did or didn't do. 2 months after that, ironically, I am going to the rookie mini camp for the Kansas City Chiefs. Number 55 was drafted by them, and the supervisor that was vocal was in the vehicle with me. And he said, Sarah, number 55 will forever be your number. I knew right then it was that play, and I have reflected on that, and I really think that he thought that that was going to be a play that I would never see the NFL. So I go up to number 55 and I said, hey, you remember this play? He said, I do. And I said, well, it kept me from getting into the NFL. He said, well, it really helped me to get into the NFL. So I want to tell you too, reflect back on it, he was absolutely correct. Number 55 will forever be my number. It's in the history books because I got to work Super Bowl 55. At 10:57 a.m. Central Standard Time, area code 212 calls, and it's Dean Blandino, and he says, Sarah, I want to welcome you as one of 9 new game officials to the National Football League. Welcome to the NFL. I commend him that he didn't say, hey, we're hiring you as the first female, as a publicity stunt, you're going to make history. No. I'm glad, and I tell him every time I get to talk to him, thank you for just saying I was an official. And this quote is on my back porch. Be yourself because everybody else is already taken. When Gerald hired me, he told me I needed to tuck my hair. So I did. I was a little miffed about it. I didn't tell him then. But I didn't have anybody that looked like me. I didn't have the female one. And Gerald was a white male that was being scrutinized after every game he worked, and he knew as I walked out there with my ponytail out or whatever, that why isn't she in the kitchen? You know, that would be the stereotype that would happen. And then he said, and you need to wear little or no makeup. I said, whoa, you were across the line there? There will be cameras, and I will have makeup on. In 2020, more females are getting into the world of officiating and football, and they were wearing their hair out because we all had the fitted hats, and I just thought it looked unkept. And so the league called me and said, would you wear your hair out? And I said, yes, if you give me an adjustable hat, I'll put it in a ponytail. So 2020, they sent it. And I am telling you, there's something about it that just makes me feel so free. And I love it. I'm going to tell you, I've learned a few things with this, and I'm going to wrap it up. How many times, especially what you guys do y'all feel like you got to prove somebody wrong? Don't you? Stop. Stop. That line will never end. As soon as you check one off, there's a new line leader. You will exhaust yourself in what you're doing. Instead, I encourage, challenge you to prove to yourself you belong where you are. Don't worry about anybody else. In 2011, when I was interviewed by the NFL, one of the supervisors asked me, Sarah, what's going to happen when you get hit? So I looked at him and I said, I hope your concern is for all the officials, because I'm bigger than some of the men that you've hired. I'm going to roll this tape, and you're going to see what happens with Sarah Thomas. I don't get hit, I get trucked by 2 players. It's a balmy 29 degrees in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Late in the 4th quarter, very one-sided game, and Cal Rudolph hits me.
Things haven't been the same since. Radford has to scramble. The pass is caught by Kyle Rudolph. And then a collision along the sideline with the line judge. And Sarah Thomas, the line judge, who I'm right back up. You go, yeah, you can see her say, I'm all right. Yeah, we're doing this Packers game.
Every time I see that, it just makes me so mad. Like, how did I get hit? And then I look like I'm looking at one of my kids going, you didn't mean to knock me down. I'm all right. I knew my wrist was broken, and so they take me back, and they go to x-ray me, and I go back to the trainer's table, and I look up, and like it's 4 minutes left on this game. I'm like, there's no way. So I told the doctor, I said, put that splint on, I'm going back in the game. And there was a player sitting there, and he goes, you were one bad contagion. And then NFL security said, you're joking. I said, no. I said, I belong out there. And my mom and dad are probably worried sick about what happened to me. So I get to the tunnel. We have these devices where we can communicate amongst the crew. And I got to the end of the tunnel, and it sets up perfectly. Of course, they're on the opposite goal line. So it's 110 yards that I've got to go. And I pushed the button. I said, hey, guys, y'all care if I join you again? They went, heck yeah, girl, get out of here. It was like the Chariots of Fire. I mean, I'm running all the way down there. Troy Aikman and Joe Butler are telling the world, Sarah Thomas, it's good to see her back. She's passed concussion protocol. Nobody even asked me if I had a headache. But I knew I belonged out there. I'm not thinking about what they asked me. But the funny thing is, you know, it's Christmas Eve, Cal Rudolph. My kids said, hey, Mom, you all right? I said, yeah, I just had breakfast. Well, you do know that you got run over by Rudolph on Christmas Eve. The other thing that I've learned through this journey, Sarah, you want to be the first, you want to be the first. I've come across so many people that all they're worried about is a title or money. And they're missing the joy in their life. So I learned that if that's all you're seeking, a boss has a title, a leader has the people. And those people that want the title, they will do anything to get up the ladder of success. But the toes that they step on to get up that ladder, I can guarantee you, with your backside, they will kiss on the way down. They didn't learn it the right way. Your work ethic, your field presence, your attitude. I mean, some days it just is tough. But I'm telling you, do things because you love it. The recognition will come, right? Look, somebody must be a fan, right? I love the energy though. It's wonderful. My fourth season, the recognition. Ron Schlover called me up and he asked me, he said, Sarah, he said, I think you would probably prefer to work a playoff game with you. I'm like, yeah, of course. He said, well, congratulations. You're going to be the down judge in the Patriots-Chargers game. And I said, I am on the field. He said, yeah. I screamed like a girl, right? But the recognition will come. It may not come when you think it should. But I said, when you're doing things because you love it, it'll all fall into place. All fall into place. This was my rookie year. I can't believe that I got this picture. It's the very moment. But you see, I'm the rookie official in the middle of the guys. The veteran is on the outside. And so I didn't get in the middle of it. I saw it developing, so I went to try to head this off. Well, then they engulfed me. And I thought for the first time, I'm about to get seriously hurt. So I throw my hands up, and I start yelling. Somebody said I used my mom voice. And a guy in the white, he went, we've never heard a woman's voice out here before. They stopped. But I looked at the guy in red, and he had those Nike red contact lenses, and I thought, Lucifer has entered the building. Do what you're doing because you love it. Success only comes before work in the dictionary. You know this quote, but believe it. You've got to put in the work. And comparison is the thief of all joy. All those people that are telling you you shouldn't do what you're doing, they're comparing themselves to you. What did I say about before? They're the ones that are insecure and doubtful. Don't compare what you have to someone else. If you're leading a team, stop it too, because you're robbing your team of their joy. Start with number one, always. All right, we're going to have a little fun here. All right? Simple math. I am from Mississippi. We like to keep things simple. So these are words that we use on the daily. Work, home, and we're trying to get to 100%, okay? So here we go. Lazy, 64%. I hate it. It should be like 6, but that Z and Y carry a heavy weight. Success, 89. Confident, 90. I think cocky's around 50-something. Excuses. Isn't this amazing how close it is to 100%? 96. Everybody's got one, don't they? Leadership, 97. Hard work, it'll pay off. Almost to 100. 98. What is that one? What? 109%. Confident men, 122. We trump them every time, don't we? All right. It's crazy to think that Sarah Bailey Thomas, a girl that fell in love with something that she didn't know women weren't doing it. I didn't know we got paid until about my 5th meeting. I just wanted to get back. No joke. It is crazy that Billie Jean King has tweeted something out about me. And if you can see it, you can be it. And you can believe it, right? You can. My daughter, she was probably in 3rd grade, but I think she's dressed up for me as a career day, for Halloween. But when I got to pull my ponytail out, she said to me, she said, Mom, because of you, if I want to do that, I can pull my ponytail out and just be a girl. But I also know this. I'm raising those 2 young men, and they have me as a mother, bless their heart. But they're going to encounter even stronger, more confident, more driven, beautiful, successful girls and women. And I tell them when they get married, and she's working as hard as you are, so help me God if you call her up and ask her what she's cooking you for dinner. You got it? Never stop believing in what you're doing and yourself. And thank